哎 ，Steven， 哎，你怎么会在这边？
摩根，我怎么会在这遇到你呢？
对啊，你怎么在这边？好巧。
我来应征工作的啊。
这边？
对啊 ，Kingsman 这个金牌特务。哎呀，我想当金牌特务很久了，我之前来应征了好几年
，OK，
他们都没有通知我。不过今年你有没有看那个 Kingsman 续集？
第2集有。
续集里面，他们很明显的已经跟威士忌界挂上了关系了，
关系深的。
我想我的机会比较大了，所以我又投了履历来看看他们到底什么时候给我回应啊？进不进去？
待会儿去我办公室，我们就在隔壁啊。
啊，这里是 St.James Number 4。
这边是
St.James
Number 3
OK，
对，
这里我知道啊，是很有名的啊。
英国皇室。
我们在我们在那个Kingsman 第2集有看到了
地下酒窖，
就是那个梅林。
对，
整个欧洲的 Kingsman 的总部呢都被炸掉了之后，梅林带着那个小男生伊格西，
对，
就是来这个地方，
没错，
对嘛，
是
吧？
没错。
这里哎，那你既然来了，你在这儿
工作。
你要跟我介绍一下这是什么地方
？OK，
好的，
好，
那我们走。
好，就来这边。其实可以看到这个建筑就是他们最早的办公室，
是，
也就是非常有名的 Number 3。
所以你要先介绍一下这什么？它的店名叫什么？
它叫 Berry Brothers and Rudd。
哦，就是有名的
BBR， 对，我们简称 BBR，因为真的太长。
威士忌界里面 BBR 是非常有名的，它是英国皇室专用的
酒商
选酒师，
是他历任的 CEO 都是皇室的酒窖管理人。
是的，
截至目前，他的 CEO 都还是皇室的酒窖管理人，然后他也是非常有名的红酒商。
哦，
对，因为皇室喝很多红酒。
我有听说那个。这20世纪初的时候，最大的事件就是那个铁达尼号
啊，对，
铁达尼号当初出来的时候，他们所有的酒都是用 BBR 的酒嘛，我记得。
其实还有一件事情大家都不太知道是，这一栋建筑物以前是美国德州的大使馆。
德州大使馆，德州是个州，怎么会有大使馆呢？
在大概1840几年的时候，德州是一个国家。
哦，以前是个国家。
它在全球有2个大使馆，一个在英国，一个在法国。
是，
英国就在伦敦，然后就在这一栋办公室。
真的还假的？有什么证据吗？
我可以带你们来看一下这个地方。
来看一下。
各位有看到这个 Texas Legation？
哦，
好，这是在讲说这个地方它是属于德州这个国家 Republic of Texas。OK， 这是在美国独立之后，看1844、1845。哦，德州那时候还是个国家，这边的大使馆。
我记得德州这个国家之前他们好像跟墨西哥有比较密切的关系，后来才跟了这个美国在一起嘛。
没错，因为那时候他们也担心在墨西哥的法军会打他们，
是，
所以他那时候联合了英军跟美军，但英国跟美国又不和，
是，
所以他们的立场非常尴尬。
哇，这是个历史建筑啊！
这个，你看这边的漆为什么是这个样子？因为它不像很多建筑物都会把漆敲掉，重新再涂，它就是一层一层涂上去，所以非常的斑驳。但是它的外形几百年来就是都长这个样子。哇，好，来 ，Steven， 我带你进去，我们参观一下，顺便介绍一下。OK， 好，来。这个其实是个称咖啡的，叫一个 coffee mill。但是因为以前的人其实健康状况都不好，他们怎么去看自己健不健康，就是看体重。
所以人可以站上去啊？
人可以站上去。
那我上上去啊？好，
站上去看看。
这人可以站上去，是不是意思说也可以做那个人口买卖啊？
这倒没有，反而是他们这边做了非常多记录，就等于是服务客户。你跟我买东西，我帮你量体重。哎呀，他这边有个本子，把所有人的体重都写在。
所以说我的体重也被记录下来了嘛。
没关系，你没有他们重。刚刚好 ，Steven， 好机会，我今天遇到一个在 BBR 里面非常重要的人物，就是我们的品牌的一个 director， 传承的 director， 是，他是 Ronnie Cox。Ronnie,
Stephen, very good to see you.
Yes.
Welcome to Number 3, St. James's Street.
I heard you have a lot of story. I'm crazy about to listen it.
Well, longing to have you here, fellow master of the quaint.
Yes.
Very good to see you.
Yes.
Let me just start off by explaining that this is the oldest room in all of Berry Brothers and Rudd. It's a 300-year-old company.
Yes.
And it started off by wholesaling coffee to the coffee houses that were around about this area. You see, we're in one of the most expensive areas of London.
This is amazing. This is very, very old bottle.
This is an extraordinarily old bottle. This was one that was found when I was cleaning through some cupboards next door. And as you can imagine, in Berry Brothers and Rudd, we've got some lovely old bottles, some of which are not recorded. And this is one of those very special treasures that I found.
More than 100 years.
It's 160 years
Wow.
old. It's distilled in 1858. So this is possibly the oldest bottle of whiskey in existence today.
Oh my.
And I only discovered it just a few weeks ago in the cupboard next door in Berry Brothers and Rudd.
I can try it?
I'm sorry, Stephen. Not even a fellow master of the quaich can try this. It has partly evaporated, obviously, but the cork, the original cork, is still there, as you can see. There is the label.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
And it is just a treasure.
I love old stuff. It's beautiful.
It doesn't have a value because who knows what somebody would pay for it. But if it is proven to be one of the oldest, if not the oldest bottle in existence, then of course it has a tremendous value, especially for somewhere like Taiwan, that is the #5 single malt market in the world.
Yes.
So I think you have in Taiwan more experts in Scotch whisky than the whole of the rest of Asia to date. Now that's really interesting because for me, Taiwan is following a passion that I've had all my life. And that is, after 7 generations of producing whiskey in my family, 2 of them illegal, not paying any taxes to the English, as a Scotsman. What I'm going to do now is to introduce you to the range of classic malts, which we had developed specifically for the purpose of giving people a full range of geographic and flavour profiles. So we have Speyside and an Islay, blended malts. These are putting together the produce from various different distilleries. And then we have the other ones, which are sherry and peated. Now, probably let's just start off with the sherry cask.
Okay.
Sherry casks are naturally darker because it's European wood in the main, and historically sherry casks would bring over sherry to the UK market. We would drink the sherry.
From the Speyside or from any
It's mainly from Speyside,
okay.
These ones. And historically, it's because the sherry and smoke don't normally go too well together. It goes better with the finer style, the more elegant style of whiskies. And here in this particular one, we've got what I think is about as good as sherry casks can get. As a blended malt, if somebody wanted to have a sherry style of whiskey, this is about as good as it gets.
And I saw the alcohol is quite special, 44.2.
44.2. Well, Dougie McIver, who is our main nose, and myself put this together, and we felt that 44.2 was just perfect for drinking neat. You can add water to it, of course, if you wanted to, but this is a wonderful strength at which to enjoy whiskies. So I'm going to give you a little bit.
Yes.
And typical from sherry casks is those lovely dried fruits. We have chocolate in there. I love to put a little bit on the back of my hand just to help my nose determine what's coming later on. Wait until the alcohol and the water has evaporated.
So we can smell the alcohol, keep the what kind of flavor in there.
So it's much easier. You can also tell whether it's mature or not.
Multi-flavor.
Multi-flavor. You get the chocolate, the dried fruits, very typical of sherry casks. And then on the nose, very different, completely different.
Yes, yes.
What you've got on the back of your hand are the solids. The rest is with alcohol and water, of course. So nose that. That's telling you that it's got some age to it. It's telling you that the wood has been prepared reasonably well with sherry beforehand. This is European oak, so you're getting largely resinous properties coming out of there. And in the nose, those wonderful, it transports me back to sherry country, this, where I first learnt my trade way back 40 years ago. I was studying sherry. Let's take a sip.
Okay.
On the middle palate, you get that sweetness of the sherry and lots of dried fruits coming through. Lingers long in the palate. And to me, it's complex. It's got lots of different layers to it that keep on coming back. It's a prime example of a blended malt.
Yeah, it's quite full body, but it's smooth.
It's very smooth.
Aftertaste have some red flower come from. Yeah, it is beautiful. So beautiful.
Yeah, and the thing about descriptors, of course, is that, you know, for you, red flowers, maybe for me, something like something slightly different. Everybody has their own vocabulary. But you're right, you've got a floral note to it, as well as a sort of orchard note, as well as those chocolate notes, as well as those apricot notes and dried fruit notes. It's a very complex whiskey.
Yes.
And Dougie, when he was putting these together, chose a whole lot from a whole lot of different sherry casks, and eventually comes up with something.
So beautiful. I will recommend people, if they like sherry flavor, I will recommend they drink this. This is so good.
It's an
so
absolute go-to classic, and that's what the classic range is all about, to show people what a really good sherry malt whiskey should taste like. And the same we do with Islay, and the same we do then with Speyside, and with peated.
Can we try the Islay? I have an interesting about Ronnie. What do you think? The Islay classic.
Ronnie's Islay cask. Well, this one is quite light in colour, because all these classic range are going to be coming from the casks, and these casks were quite naturally light in colour. But the colour, of course, doesn't mean anything really. Yes. It's more to do with aesthetics, which is why quite a lot of whiskey companies they add colouring to them originally, so the blends would always maintain a consistent colour. These are completely unchill filtered, excuse me.
Okay. So this is unchill filtered.
Unchill filtered, and this Islay one is natural in colour, completely natural in colour. So if you're looking for something which is Islay, you're looking obviously for those medicinal properties and the brine, the saltiness coming through, the sea air penetrating those casks over time. And that's the sort of #1 point you go to. The second one is making sure you've got balance and complexity and texture. So on the nose, you will get those lovely smoky phenols, and on the back of the hand, this will tell you immediately whether it's smoky or not. Even if it's disguised in the liquid, you can usually pick up the smokiness on the back of the hand.
Yes.
So there's sort of like a struck match here. But yet on the nose of this one, you've got those lovely floral notes, as well as the sea salty. You can just almost feel the breeze coming through on the Islay.
Smell on hand is more smoky.
It's more smoky.
Direct from the liquid, not so smoky.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And it's a great way of being able to tell whether it's got smoke in it or not. It's just putting it, even if you can't pick it up on the nose, put a little bit on the back of the hand, smell it. That's quite heavily smoky, isn't it? But typical of an Islay malt. I like to hold it on my palate for a few minutes so that the saliva has a chance to dilute it a little bit. The texture is good, the balance is good, and this is more of an elegant style of Islay. It's not a beat you around the head Islay. It's very much more in keeping with Berry Brothers and Rilers, an elegant wine and spirits company. So that's the Islay. It's very Moorish. It's one of those ones that once you've had a sip, you probably want another one, and then another one, and another one.
So what kind of things you recommend more?
So apart from this classic range, we have in the classic range we have Speyside, and then we have a peated version. Now the peated version is actually from Speyside peated whiskey.
Oh, cool.
And it's been matured in casks that have already had peated whiskey.
So this kind of peat not from the island, from the mainland?
It's mainly from the mainland. But some of it has been aged in casks that actually have come from Islay. So you're getting a combination of Highland peat and Islay peat. Islay peat is very salty, or tends to be salty, and Highland peat is more aromatic, more floral in nature, because the peat is composed of decomposed heather. So whereas the islands will produce peat which has perhaps crustaceans in it, perhaps it's got some seaweed in it, perhaps it's got some other elements coming from the sea, Highland malts, Highland peated whiskies don't have the influence of the sea at all.
It's so smoky, but a lot of honey flavor come out.
Exactly that, exactly that. And this is why Highland peat is wonderful to burn on the fire at home. You know, instead of having logs, you put Highland peat there. The smell is just to die for. So it's quite light in style compared to the Islay peat. So there's a bit of smoke on the nose here, but it's more to do with the honey notes. It's more to do with the typical Highland Speyside elegance. So just that touch of peat, which is like a kiss of peat coming at the back of the palate. Much sweeter in style in the middle palate. Again, 44.2% alcohol. This has got lots of fruits in the middle palate now.
Yeah, fruity flavor.
Very fruity flavor. To me, that is an absolute classic smoky Speyside. They're quite rare because there's only one distillery that really produces smoky whiskey up there, and that was done so that it could provide the smokiness to Teacher's whiskey.
Which one?
Thought you might ask me that one. It's called, I'll remember in a second.
Okay.
What is it called? The peaty notes from the Highland area, so this is Speyside, comes from the famous Ardmore distillery, which belongs to, well, historically has always provided the whiskies for Teacher's Highland whiskey. Now other distilleries in that part of Scotland are producing peated versions, but historically Ardmore was always producing peated whiskey. So that's the classic range, and this is the sort of range that people should have for covering all the different really spectrums of malt whiskies at home. You know, if somebody says, oh, I want a sherry whiskey, or I want a peated whiskey, or I want an Islay whiskey, then you have that range there. All very reasonably priced compared to most others. So you will find that these, compared to their individual bottlings of single malts from a distillery, are about probably 60% of the price, so they're much cheaper. And the real reason for this is that we love to introduce, Berry Brothers always loves to produce whiskies which are accessible, but yet best in the class. You know, so they're always going to be good, whatever happens. We have a 300-year reputation to keep up. We can't afford to produce anything in a bottle that is not up to the quality levels that we always want. Then I want to introduce to you the wonderful Campbelltown distillery called Springbank.